and ça c'est deuxième Chanel moi. Today we are going to be talking about VOODOO LWA Maman Brigitte's. Now this is pronounced so many different ways in so many different voodoo religions that I'm just gonna call her Maman Brigitte because that's how I've always known her as, but she's also known as Madame Brigitte, La Grande Brigitte. I've also heard of her name being pronounced Brigitte or Bridget. There's just so many different ways to pronounce her name, but I'm very sure a lot of you guys watching this, if you are familiar with the voodoo religion, you would know who she is. Now, as I say in every video, if you did not read the disclaimer, we are not here to disrespect anyone's religion. I do not practice voodoo myself, and anyone who disrespects the voodoo religion will be blocked, okay? Just like you have your beliefs, other people are right to have their own beliefs as well. Any disrespect will be blocked immediately, or someone will put you in your place before I have time to do so. Make sure you guys head down to the description box or the pinned comment down below because we got some merch, okay? It ain't much, but we got some merch. Support the channel. Also, if you do not subscribe to my main channel, subscribe to my main channel because what are you doing? Double the fun over there. If I'm not posting here, I'm posting there. So why are you not there? Like, why one? Like, ça passe ou pas le même? Or quoi? So what's very, very interesting about Maman Brigitte is she is the only white VOODOO LWA and the only LWA that does not originate in Haiti or Africa. Well, kind of. So realistically, Maman Brigitte is a African, or I guess Caribbean manifestation of a Celtic goddess named Bridget or Brigid. I believe it's Bridget. Please correct me if I'm saying it wrong. Usually traditionally depicted as a white woman. However, I have seen a lot of images of her being a black woman as well. Comment down below, which one do you follow? Which one do you believe is most accurate? I would assume the white one is most accurate, clearly because of her origins. But I mean, I feel like since she's technically been personified in the voodoo religion and basically conjured up in the Caribbean way, she kind of should be black, but I don't think there's any problem with her being white. Now, please, white people watching this, please don't think that this is a pass for y'all to just sit here and do voodoo just because you fucking want to and dibble and dabble and shit that's none of your business and try to act like you're a Wiccan when you're not just because you Googled a couple things. Like, understand that a lot of these, you know, religions that aren't really talked about have a lot to it. You need to be properly inducted into things. Know your roots, and you just want to sit there and pick up the voodoo religion, stay in your lane, writ lakayu, writ no wanu, okay? And she was brought over to the Haitian voodoo religion when there were many Celtic women. I always hear Celtic, but I've heard of Scottish and I've also heard Irish. I strongly always hear Irish. Nonetheless, there were a bunch of Scottish and Irish women who were accused of doing certain crimes, and as punishment, they were sent to Africa and then later on to Haiti to work alongside the slaves as punishment. So for those of you who do not know, yes, there actually were white slaves, or I should say white European slaves. What's very interesting, and a lot of people do not know this, a lot of European people were never actually considered white until like America kind of considered them white. Yeah, back in the day, they were actually very, very discriminated against, okay? Especially the Irish. Irish people were very, very heavily discriminated against, especially in the United States, because clearly, like, they were different. They had the heavy accent. They had a whole lot of stereotypes regarding them drinking a lot, which is funny because now we have an entire holiday dedicated to their St. Patrick's Day, and everyone drinks a lot and tries to act like, you know, everything was fine and dandy, when in actuality, they used to degrade and berate the Irish people all of the time. The only reason they started considering these European people white, so to speak, was because they started to band together with black people, okay? They started to kind of like get together and conspire together type shit, and white people's like, oh no, we can't have that. So, you know, you guys are white now, you can have the white card. I might just link a video in this video or down in the description box below because it's very interesting stuff. This is how Maman Brigitte came to life. The Celtic version of Bridget is almost virtually the same in terms of what they do and what they're called on upon. Celtic Bridget is called on for, I have to read this because it's a long list of shit, okay? She is the Celtic goddess of the sun, the dawn, fire, spring, fertility, healing, knowledge, wisdom, poetry, medicine, smithcraft, warfare, arts and crafts, cattle, livestock, sacred wells, and serpents. The Celtic goddess Bridget is actually very, very prominent in their religion and is very prominent in ours as well. And some of the things she does in their religion seems to be very reminiscent of our religion. So Maman Brigitte, if you guys are not aware, is actually married to Baron Samedi. I did do a video on him. You guys are free to check that out. I will link it down below. And together they basically rule the underworld and they govern the living and the dead. They are known as the Lord and Lady of Death and Sexuality. And of course, if you guys are guessing, she is part of the Guédé family, if you guys did not already realize that. Now, the Guédé family is a very interesting bunch. They are said to be the life of the party. They are the Lwa that you will see do the most, okay? They like to curse. They're really loud. They're rambunctious. They do a lot of sexual gestures. There's a lot going on with them. A lot of young people usually gravitate towards the Guédé Lwa. They like to play games, they like to play jokes, and they don't take anything really serious. And that is because the Guédé are pretty much YOLO, okay? That's the best way to explain it, except they're not living, so that's why they don't give a fuck, okay? These Lwa are said to be of the people, like of people that have passed on. So they live a life of, well, I'm already dead. Y'all can't do shit to me, so I'ma do what the fuck I want. And this speaks very, very loud, especially when it comes to Haiti's upbringing and how anyone who speaks up against opposition is ultimately killed. So the reason they're so loud and so like rambunctious is just like a fuck you to society. I'm gonna do what I want because can't nobody do nothing about it. So try me if you want to. That's literally the attitude that a lot of them have. But mostly they're really, really fun. And anytime they do like curse and everything, it's not like to curse you the fuck out. It's more of like a playful type of situation. They're just really vulgar in everything they do. Maman Brigitte is called on for a lot of things, but one of the main things she's called upon is doing things that Baron Samedi don't really take seriously. Now, the thing is with Baron Samedi, he's like a jokester. He play a lot of games, and sometimes like he'll like literally banter with you. And he can also be very scary to some people, so a lot of people will go to her in order to get her to speak to him, to kind of get what they need, because like a lot of people are either intimidated or they think that he played too much and they don't want to be tricked by him. Now, just like her husband, she is also rude. She's also really sexual. She's also really loud. She's just a lot more approachable. Now, understand, she is very, very powerful in her own right, and she does not depend on him whatsoever. She does her own shit. She's usually venerated and petitioned alongside him. However, she is mostly called upon for fertility issues, wealth, and especially for law. Anyone who has like a pending case, or has any type of like injustices happening to them calls on Maman Brigitte, and she always delivers. Her colors are purple, black, and green. Her Yoruba equivalent is Oya. Christian equivalent would be Mary Magdalene or Brigid of Kildare. I've never heard of that one. I went to Catholic school. We never heard of her. I don't remember. Those images may be those that are used to represent her. She actually judges on the court of spirits. Yes, there is a court of spirits. She is also really good for enemies and known for putting enemies in their place. If you got someone messing with you, Maman Brigitte is where it's at. Also really known for protecting children in the military. Why the hell do they have children in the military? I don't know, but there's a lot of places in the world where there are children soldiers, and it really breaks my heart. We're not even gonna talk about that right now, but she is called on for that. And of course, healing and financial stability, like I said before. She lives in the elms, the weeping willows, like more so like in the woodsy type of area, but like within the graveyard. So the trees in the graveyard, essentially. She's also invoked on behalf of the terminally ill. If you are really, really sick, she is one you can definitely call on. She is a really good, well-known healer in terms of the Lwa family. But listen, she don't play no games, okay? She drinks hot peppers in her rum, and her concoction is said to be so potent, so spicy, and so unbearable that not any human can taste it. She is the lady of the cemetery, and she is thought to protect every grave that is properly marked with a cross. Crosses are one of her symbols. She heals people, but she also decides on who gets healed. She can also heal your T1 ange, which is very, very important because your T1 ange is essentially your soul. And if you have a bad soul, a lot of fucked up shit could happen to you, especially regarding the voodoo religion. And if she feels like you are not worthy, she will pass you right on to Baron Samedi, and you know where that goes. You know, we all know how that ends. So, yeah. She is also the Lwa of money. Now, the thing is, a lot of people like to do voodoo for money, and it never ends well in their favor. This is because a lot of people have this common misconception that people could do voodoo and do it for bad things. A lot of people have this common misconception that you can just do voodoo for money. If you do voodoo, all of a sudden you're gonna be rich, That's not how it works, okay? That's why not all voodoo practitioners are millionaires, okay? There's a reason for it. And the reason being, if you are gonna ask for something as frivolous as money, you're going to have to get a sacrifice, okay? You're gonna have to give something up for it. It's usually gonna be your kid, your mom, your spouse. It's gonna be something like that. So realistically, you doing something like that essentially makes you a bad person and fucks up your T-bonage. That's not even a bonage no more, okay? Your T-bonage is now tainted. You're making yourself susceptible to spiritual attacks from Ogons and stuff like that, for the simple fact that now you are seen as a shit person because you wanted to live these earthly dreams that don't even really matter, and you threw someone else under the bus. Like, you took someone else's life, you gave someone else's soul away. You can fulfill your own personal needs. Now, this is absolutely not what voodoo is about, and people who do this usually use voodoo in conjunction with black magic to do all of these ghastly deeds. Now, this is frowned upon very, very seriously, like especially with Momo Brigitte, because even though, I mean, she is the Lwa of money, you know, you can ask for prosperity, but when you sit there and be like, I want $1 million and this is what I'm gonna do to get it, and oh, I'm gonna sell my soul and this is how I'm gonna, you know, stuff like that, they do not like that, and shit will bounce back to you. Even if it's not you, it's gonna bounce back to your kids. If it's not your kids, it's gonna bounce to their kids. Sometimes shit attacks the entire generation, and now you have a generational curse or whatever. Like, they will punish you. And if you do not get punished, someone that you know will be punished for it. She is not really for possession. She doesn't really care for earthly possessions. She doesn't really care for people who care about their earthly possessions, and money is one of them. She's also known to like steal Baron Samedi's cane all the time just to prove that she really don't care about possessions. Like, she be stealing his shit just to be funny. The Guédé Lwa are all kind of thieves, to be honest. Like, they all like to steal and play jokes and play pranks on people. What's very interesting is a vast majority of the Guédé Lwa are actually male. I don't know why this is. There is one that I've heard of, Gedelilia, or something like that. I've never looked into her. I actually just heard of her recently, and I was like, oh, that's interesting. There's like said to be a lot of them. Like the Guédé Lwa, wow, like there's a lot of them. Like, so many that I don't even think anyone can count, and I don't believe anyone knows. The only people who know how many Guédé Lwa there are Brigitte and Samedi themselves, okay? For her altar, usually people arrange rocks for her in a certain way in cemeteries in order to honor her. She likes violet and purple irises, black coffee, of course she likes her rum. With her peppers, of course. 9 purple eggplant, red wine, black beans and rice, aka durijonjon, roasted corn, cornmeal, cornbread. Like, her offerings are very, very different from most of the other Lwa that I've covered, but she's a very, very different Lwa, and she's actually one that I actually kind of like. Now that I actually looked into her, like, I never really knew what she was for until I like had to ask around and do some more research. Momo Brigitte is pretty interesting. The only thing I knew about was the wealth part. Like, I know like a lot of gamblers and stuff would seek her guidance and seek her protection and stuff like that. I didn't know about the law situation. I didn't know that she was also a fertility Lwa as well. So comment down below, what do you love about Momo Brigitte? Is she your favorite? Is she not your favorite? If not, who's your favorite? Comment down below. Make sure you guys like, share, subscribe, do all that. And I'm gonna see y'all next time.